Russia, the largest country in the world, spans an incredible 17.1 million square kilometers and occupies a vast expanse across Eastern Europe and Northern Asia, making it a land of immense geographical and cultural diversity. It borders numerous countries, including Norway, Finland, Poland, China, and North Korea, and stretches over 11 time zones, from the shores of the Arctic Ocean in the north to the subtropical beaches of the Black Sea in the south. With a population exceeding 140 million, Russia is not only vast in terms of land area but also rich in historical, cultural, and political significance. The nation has played a pivotal role in shaping the course of world events, particularly in the 20th century, through its history as the core of the Soviet Union, which existed from 1922 until 1991. This historical backdrop provides a complex and fascinating narrative that intertwines with the nation's present-day identity, as Russia has undergone significant political and social changes since the dissolution of the Soviet Union, transitioning from a centrally planned economy to a more market-driven one, though it retains many remnants of its Soviet-era systems. Moscow, the capital, and St. Petersburg are Russia's most prominent cities, with the former serving as the political and economic center, while the latter, known for its cultural and architectural heritage, is often regarded as the artistic heart of the country. Russia is a nation of stark contrasts, from the frozen tundra of Siberia, home to vast natural resources such as oil, natural gas, and precious metals, to the lush, temperate regions surrounding the Volga River and the fertile plains that were once the breadbasket of the Soviet Union. The country's climate is as diverse as its geography, with subarctic and continental climates dominating much of Siberia, while the southern regions enjoy a more moderate climate conducive to agriculture. The history of Russia is marked by the rise and fall of powerful dynasties, most notably the Romanovs, whose reign from the early 17th century until the 1917 revolution encapsulated the grandeur and tragedy of the Russian Empire. The 1917 Bolshevik Revolution, led by figures like Vladimir Lenin, led to the creation of the Soviet Union, which, under Joseph Stalin's leadership, became one of the world's two superpowers, often in a tense Cold War rivalry with the United States. The collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991 led to the emergence of the Russian Federation, which has since been shaped by both its imperial past and the legacy of communism. President Vladimir Putin, who has been in power for much of the 21st century, has been a controversial figure, consolidating power within the state, suppressing opposition, and focusing on regaining Russia's influence on the global stage. Economically, Russia relies heavily on its natural resource exports, particularly oil and gas, which are key drivers of the national economy, though it also faces challenges such as economic inequality, corruption, and the need for diversification into other industries. Russia's military is one of the largest in the world, with a powerful nuclear arsenal that remains a significant factor in global geopolitics. Despite its military strength, Russia faces a number of domestic challenges, including an aging population, economic sanctions imposed by the West in response to its actions in Ukraine and Crimea, and political protests demanding greater freedoms and reforms. Culturally, Russia has an illustrious tradition in literature, music, ballet, and the visual arts, with figures such as Fyodor Dostoevsky, Leo Tolstoy, Pyotr Tchaikovsky, and Anna Pavlova leaving an indelible mark on global culture. The Russian Orthodox Church plays a significant role in the spiritual and cultural life of the country, with a deep historical connection to Russian identity, although Russia is constitutionally secular. The language, Russian, is the official language, but there are numerous other languages spoken by minority groups across the country, reflecting its vast ethnic diversity. Russian cuisine, known for its hearty and warming dishes, includes specialties like borscht, blini, and pelmeni, while vodka is an iconic part of Russian culture, symbolizing the country's complex history and social life. Despite the challenges it faces, Russia remains a global power with a rich cultural heritage, a complex political landscape, and an uncertain future as it navigates the modern world stage. The country's ongoing efforts to assert its influence in global politics, especially through its actions in Eastern Europe and the Middle East, have kept it at the center of international discourse. As it continues to develop, Russia's unique blend of tradition, history, and ambition ensures it will remain a significant force in world affairs for years to come. Russia, square kilometers, stretching across Eastern Europe and Northern Asia, from the icy Arctic Ocean in the north to the subtropical Black Sea in the south, encompassing a diverse array of climates, landscapes, and peoples. Its land mass is so vast that it spans 11 time zones and borders 16 countries, making it a geopolitical giant with an exceptional influence in both regional and global affairs. The country's terrain is incredibly varied, ranging from the endless tundra and forests of Siberia to the fertile plains surrounding the Volga River, to the Ural Mountains, which mark the natural division between Europe and Asia. Throughout history, Russia has been a land of paradoxes, marked by the tension between vast natural wealth, particularly in resources like oil, gas, timber, and minerals, and the socio-economic challenges of managing such an enormous expanse. With a population of over 140 million people, Russia is a multicultural and multi-ethnic nation, with hundreds of distinct ethnic groups and languages spoken across its regions. The largest group is the ethnic Russians, but there are significant populations of Tatars, Ukrainians, Bashkirs, Chuvash, and Chechens, among others, contributing to a complex social fabric shaped by centuries of migration, conquest, and integration. Russian culture has been profoundly shaped by its history, from the Kievan Rus to the rise of the Tsarist Empire, which became one of the world's most powerful and influential nations by the 19th century. The imperial era, especially under the Romanovs, left a legacy of opulence, art, and military strength, but it was also characterized by widespread inequality and the struggle of the peasantry. This tension between the elite and the working classes would be a defining feature of Russian history, culminating in the Russian Revolution of 1917, which ended the Tsarist autocracy and brought the Bolsheviks to power under the leadership of figures like Vladimir Lenin. This revolution led to the formation of the Soviet Union in 1922, a state based on communist principles that would dominate much of the 20th century. The USSR, under the leadership of Joseph Stalin, transformed Russia into a global superpower, though at an immense human cost, including widespread purges, forced collectivization, and the horrors of the Great Terror. The Soviet era was defined by its competition with the United States during the Cold War, as the two nations engaged in a struggle for global supremacy, which involved not only military and ideological battles but also the space race, nuclear arms development, and proxy wars across the world. Despite its military might, the Soviet Union faced significant economic and political challenges, and by the 1980s, under the leadership of Mikhail Gorbachev, the USSR began a process of reform through policies like perestroika restructuring and glasnost openness, which eventually led to the dissolution of the Soviet Union in 1991. Following this, Russia emerged as an independent nation under the leadership of Boris Yeltsin, who oversaw a period of tumultuous change as the country transitioned from a centrally planned economy to a market-oriented one. This transition, however, was far from smooth, leading to widespread poverty, economic instability, and the rise of oligarchs who consolidated enormous wealth and political power.